Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy in the midweek video. Usually these are going to be on Wednesdays. Technically it's Thursday, but it's my Wednesday because I haven't been to bed yet. I don't know what to call it. I might have to start calling these segments Random Wednesdays because usually it's just going to be random thoughts that I feel the need to express. And as you may have seen by the title of this video, and I'm looking for something while there she is. While I'm talking to you, I need to address a blight on society, a threat to all things good and true. Crappy sheath syndrome. The knife people know what I'm talking about. You get a knife. Maybe it's been a knife that you've been putting off buying for days, for months, even years. Maybe it's really expensive. Maybe you couldn't get it because it was out of stock everywhere. And then you get it. The knife is everything you expected. It's beautiful. It's well made. Fits your hand like a glove. And you're on the verge of knifegasm. And then you see the sheath. And that is maddening. I've got two knives here. Both the knives themselves are very good. This is Forseti steel. I've reviewed this. Love this knife. But until I get around to getting a custom sheath made for it, I'm not going to be carrying it. Now, here's the sheath that came with it. And this is, when it comes to materials and workmanship, this thing is fantastic. Okay, good leather, double stitched, thick threads. It lasts forever. But it's designed badly for what the knife is intended for. They call this the Hector fighting knife. I don't have the box handy, but the box even called it a fighting knife. Fighting knife means you're going to be carrying it for personal protection. Personal protection means that you have to be able to get it out of the sheath quickly, right? Well, that's not going to happen. First of all, it's got a good friction hold, so you don't have to use the snap, but the snap is a better idea. Right? And now, yeah, the snap moves. See how that's, which means there's nothing there there's no traction there to stop it from moving, so you can get the snap off quickly. You almost have to hold the snap like I'm holding it with my finger, and then thumb it off. No good in a fighting knife. No, not good in a fighting knife sheath. For any kind of tactical, there's my favorite, most hated word. It needs these days it just has to have carry options. It needs horizontal, it needs vertical, it needs molly, right? So this sheath to me is an afterthought. And actually, I know it was an afterthought because Forseti Steel actually contacted me. I bought this direct from Forseti Steel. I didn't get it from a third party. They actually contacted me by email because I registered my knife. This has a lifetime limited warranty and lifetime a lifetime sharpening. If you're so inclined, you can send us back for a lifetime of sharpening once you register it. But they emailed me back and asked me to review it, and I reviewed it for them, and I sent them a link to the review I did on it, talking about the sheath. And they basically said we concentrate on the sheaths here, on the knives here. Sorry you didn't like the sheaths, but the knife is what we're worried about. I'm paraphrasing. And see, I would think that a knife maker would know better than that. And this is what I really want to get across. And that's what I really want to get across. Here's another example. This is a a Black Fox cutlery. N860, I think. Yeah, 860 European boar hunter knife. Also looks suspiciously or very similar to a Filipino Garab. Right? And this is a really nice knife. It's very solid. The the combination of bolster and guard here are the blade and the tang are all one piece. This is basically one piece of steel shaped and handle scales put on it. But it's not about the knife. This is a really great knife. This is just a pleasure to wield. It's great. And then you get this piece of shit. It's like faux leather, and that's thin. A knife this long. Can you imagine having this on a loop and on your belt, doing this all day? And bear in mind, they're calling this a boar hunting knife. So this is going through, presumably you're going to be carrying it through thick brush. Now, just as a side note and kind of a, if you look, I just looked at, I got this years ago at a pawn shop. Yeah, so, but I looked it up online, and there's, the Fox Cutlery is now calling an N160 that's substantially shorter than this. It still has the same, faux leather crappy sheath, but it's a little bit better off because the loop is designed. But just so you know, if you look this up and you don't see this knife, they've changed over the years. But this knife deserves a better sheath. Now, granted, that's probably how they cut cost. Is in the sheath. Is how a lot of knife makers cut cost, and that's a shame. And what I really want to say what this video is really about, is that you have to look at the knife and the sheath as a system. It's not a knife and a sheath. Let's call it a cutting tool system. And the sheath has to reflect what the knife is used for as much as the knife does. Think about it. Is the knife going to spend more time in the sheath or in your hand? It's going to spend more time in the sheath. So that sheath has to be comfortable to wear. It has to secure the knife. It has to protect the knife. And depending on the application, it might have to be deployed quickly. And in any application, it should you should be able to deploy the knife easily, preferably with one hand. And that's what I think. Even a lot of the big knife makers, Ontario, Cold Steel, name your own, they don't get it. Sometimes they don't seem to get that the knife and the sheath are a system. There's a symbiotic relationship there. And the knife is going to be in that sheath, on your belt, or on your molly gear, or wherever you carry it, more than it's in your hand. So why crappy sheaths? Now, some sheaths are barely adequate. I have a few that are very good. I've got a hold folder, the EXF02, I think what it is. Has a very well thought out sheath system, carrying system. The Buck ground combat knife, they did understand it was a system, because it comes with a Kydex sheath and then a nylon holder for that sheath that you can remove and just use the Kydex, or you can put it onto the. I should have got that out. Well, like I said, this is random. I don't plan these. I plan these even less than my Sunday ones. These videos, but they have this nylon. They have a nylon attachment that so you can put it on molly everywhere. They thought that out. So for knife guys, I mean, well, not knife buyers, but knife buyers who are maybe not knife people, But like again, the guys that just go camping and have a knife and want a knife, uh, but they want to buy something decent that's going to work for them well, and working for them well not only means what they actually do with it, it means being able to carry it easily. So, and that is crappy sheath syndrome. Perfectly good knife and either a poorly designed, poorly thought out sheath, or a piece of crap when it comes to materials and workmanship, or both. Let's say we'll go $50. That's a good range for a knife. And most people don't want to pay anything more than $50 for a knife. Okay. So you pay $50 for a knife, and you don't pay. You look at the knife, you find out all about the knife, the steel, the ergonomics of the handle, all that good stuff. But most times online, they'll just say nylon sheath, Kydex sheath. You don't really know, and sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do about it unless you can go to a store and actually find it, or find a knife and look at the sheath, or you have time to order it and send it back if you don't like the sheath. It's hard, but you have to consider the sheath. You have to consider what the sheath as much as the knife itself, because as I said, the knife is going to spend most of its time in the sheath. When you're hiking to your campsite, it's going to be on your belt or on your wallet, wherever you carry it. The knife is going to be in the sheath. Right? When you're just doing other things around camp, it's going to be in the sheath. If you're stalking your prey, or you're in your deer blind when you're hunting, it's going to be in the sheath. It can't be bouncing around. It can't be catching on everything under the sun. Right? If it's a personal protection knife, it is certainly going to be on your belt, and it can't catch on. It can't get in the way when you're getting in and out of the car. You can't catch on your seatbelt. The sheath is important. The carry method is important, and also, when it comes to boomsticks, or as I like to call them, high-velocity freedom seed dispensers. But when it comes to firearms, it's the same thing. I know people that will agonize. They'll watch hours of YouTube reviews on a gun that they want to buy, right? And they'll spend hours researching what kind of ammunition is perfect for the gun, and then go out and get a $10 holster and wonder why they don't carry the gun, because the holster is piss poor, or the holster breaks within a couple of hours or a couple of days, and they find out, and that's a real pain in the ass, right? Yeah. They're bebopping through the grocery store with their concealed carry permit and their concealed fire, right? And they bend over, gun falls out of the holster. I've seen that happen. So the knife sheath is at least as important as the knife itself, because that's going to determine whether you actually carry the knife or not. If this had a horizontal carry and was quick to deploy, I would carry. Where did I put it? I would carry this. And eventually, time and finances, I'm going to have a sheath made so I can carry this, because I really like it and I want to carry it. But as it is, this is not a sheath that I can carry it on a daily basis with. This is an afterthought. And this one would last about 15 minutes with the knife in it, going through terrain and bouncing around on your hip and getting caught on rambles and whatnot. So, like I said, I'm going to keep these really quick, but knife companies, please, 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 take a little more time, and not all of you need to, but a lot of times, take a little more time and consider the sheath. Even you budget-friendly guys, even the budget knives, the M-Techs and the Ciscos and everything like that. Some of the Ciscos come with pretty nice leather sheaths. But if you want to build a loyal following, and if you're interested at all in kind of getting away from your reputation as being crap, being junk knives, consider the sheaths. Because, like for M-Tech, There are a lot of M-Tech knives that I would carry in a heartbeat in the field if the sheath wasn't crappy. Because there's sometimes you go into the field and you can use an M-Tech and beat it up and not worry about it, even if you break it. But you're not. But if the sheath is uncomfortable, if the sheath doesn't work right, subconsciously you're just going to make sometimes even subconsciously, like I said, you're going to just choose not to carry that knife. Right? Simply because the sheath makes it a pain in the ass to carry. So, like I said, short and sweet. The knife. Think of the knife as a system. The knife and the sheath as a system. Okay. With that, I bid you to draw your knives only in just purpose, sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Always helps to feed the algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And I bid you goodbye.